Go back to times like that when they start young people, bring them in and put them through school?
They had better start developing stars because what's happening today is that everybody's on their own and you can't do it by yourself. You need a studio to support
That's right.
you.
Well, if you can't, I mean, you have to go to the bank and borrow the money. I mean, when I couldn't get a picture like Molly Brown or anything else, and I wasn't doing a nightclub act at that time. In fact, I was retired. I was wealthy at the time. And so I went to the bank, borrowed the money, and did a nightclub act. And when they came to see me in Vegas, they saw my show, and they said, hey, why don't we use her for Molly Brown? That's how I got the part.
Wow. I like to ask Janis Paige, do you miss the glamour of those days, Janis?
No.
You don't?
No.
Why not?
Because I think today is fun too, Mike. You know, I love what's happening today. I think I like the freedom of today more than I did then. I sort of felt controlled, terribly controlled, and terribly frightened about a lot of things. You know, I didn't really feel like I could. I don't know, control my own life. You know?
Do you miss don't you think the mystique is missing today, though, with stars?
No, I don't think so.
There's too much openness, and there's not enough of the old glamour of the old. Do you?
No, I really do. I think when we were doing films, I think that we really and truly had a certain glamour that a lot of the stars today don't have. They just don't have it. I'm sorry.
I don't agree with that. I think that there's a tremendous amount of talent, just as when we were young.
Talent.
No, but
Yeah,
I'm
but
talking about
Talk
glamour,
about the mystique, Debbie.
Well, I think that that's up to what they want to do, Annie. I don't think that you can perform, you know, under conditions that you feel down or thwarted. A lot of our contemporaries, when we were under contract, MGM, didn't like the machine, didn't like being told what to do.
Can't you see my mystique? You can't see my mystique. It's sticking out all over me. Well, here and
You
there.
must have dropped it on the way in.
No, I have a lot of mystique someplace if somebody just looked for it a little bit.
No, but I think glamour girls, they dress so beautiful. I mean, my gosh, we had fabulous costumes, we had color photography, but everything that anybody would want. And today, it isn't really in. The girls walk around in blue jeans, their hair is sloppy. They don't care. To me, that isn't glamour. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
It takes so much time to get into all those clothes, you know?
Oh, but
I mean,
I love it.
Well, there's only one Ann Miller anyway, and she's the glamour part of that.
I love it.
Yeah, let's hear it for Ann. Yay!
Yay!
Since all of you were at the same studio doing, you know, the dancing and the singing, the music and all, was there much competition among you as far as going to certain parts?
We all
like
made
a
up in the
family.
same room in the morning. We all came in looking schleppy.
Yeah.
And then, well, you know,
Crummy.
you know how you look in the morning. You know how you look. Well, that's the way
Yeah.
it is. And the real beauties, I guess, were Ava Gardner, the dark-haired girls, you know.
Grace
They didn't
Kelly.
come into the room. They had their private room.
Yeah, they had private rooms, but we were all in one room. Vera Ellen was there with us, and
Right.
this wonderful girl.
That
Wish
was
she were
like a
here tonight.
family, really, wasn't it?
It was a family.
We had a ball. We really
did.
did. We all
and we
didn't
still
we, Jane?
all like each other. Like
Didn't
this
we,
is,
Fred?
we called
Didn't we,
Annie
Jean?
Annie Crow.
Yes,
We
I
had
look
a
back in
ball.
those days with great
We had a
fondness.
good time. There was no competition. Not really.
For the world. By the way, Fred, there's a fella standing out there. I think you ought to call in and introduce.
Hermes. Come here.
Hermes pen.
How are you?
How do you? Glad to know you too. Who are you? Oh, yeah.
World's greatest choreographer, that's all.
You choreographed. I know the one picture, the one sequence in That's Entertainment Part 2 that knocked me cold was Kiss Me Kate.
Oh, Kiss
in
Me
which
Kate.
there was some. Annie was part of that. Carol Haney.
Carol Haney, Bobby Fosse, Judy Coyne.
Tommy Rao.
Tommy Rao. It was one of the numbers that sort of pleased me, the way it did turn out.
Yeah, I think people who are not a part of this business do not realize what goes into something like that. Can you give us something in terms of time and how long you're on a soundstage, how long are you in a rehearsal studio for that one number that I saw that knocked me cold?
We probably rehearsed on this one number, I think, for a month, at least.
Well, 2 or 3 numbers at one time, but that took up a lot of the time. Because it was
But the thing is that you don't think about it's going to be wonderful, but you just hope it comes out well, and you do your best. And if it's good, you're pleased. And but people think that you plan things and you write them out, and you don't do that. It comes by inspiration. From day to day, something happens.
Have all of you ladies worked with this man at some time or another?
Oh, gosh, we
Janis
certainly
and Jane
did.
and all of you?
Your best.
You bet.
You all worked with Hermes at some time or
Oh,
another?
I have all the bruises still.
I did about 6 pictures with Hermes.
I will never forget one number that we did on Kiss Me, Silk Stockings with Janis and Fred.
I will never forget it.
Stereophonic sound, and we were doing this number that it ended up that they swung on a chandelier and did a somersault, and Ruben Mamoulian,
But he said, yes, you will, and we did.
and Ruben Mamoulian came to see the finished product, and he after we did the whole thing, the swinging on the chandeliers and the somersault, Mamoulian said, well, sincerely, he said, and now what?
You know, the other day I got the greatest story out of Fred Astaire by asking a similar question. He said that he was dancing with Ginger, and it was the first take, and she swung her arm in one sequence, and the beaded gown hit him in the eye, and he literally didn't know what was happening, but he finished the whole thing, and they did it 6 or 7 times afterwards, and he said that was the take that got on the screen where she hit him in the eye with the
We did
thing.
it 17 times. After
17
that. We
times.
called the day off, and then the next day saw the brushes, and the first one was it. And I didn't know what happened after I got hit with that sleeve, I'll tell you that.
Do any of you
All the
ladies,
feathers, wasn't it?
any of you have Fred Astaire stories?
I think the thing that's missing today with when we do our production numbers is what we did have time to do when the glorious MGM was going full blast. We had time to be as close to perfect as we could, like when I was doing the Bandwagon. And I know when everybody was doing any of their musical numbers, you could rehearse as long as you needed to make a number as perfect as you could make it. And people like Hermes would come in and say, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to change it, I want to make it right. Fred would rehearse a number, Gene would rehearse a number until they felt that what they were doing was perfect.
Arthur Freed was wonderful for that. He just lets you do anything and spend all
Take
kinds
your
of money
time
doing
until
anything.
you
Wonderful.
felt right about it.
the
And most
producer.
of us have done television. I think all of us have done television today. We have, 3 or 4 days to put a number together.
say,
And
"That's
that's
it."
just not enough time to be as good. People say, why can't we do the great things we did before? It's because we don't have the time anymore.
Debbie, you've worked under both conditions that were just described. You also did Molly Brown when it got a little tighter and you had to do things quicker. Was it more difficult for you in Molly Brown than the old days?
Well, in the end, when MGM changed, and of course I was here all through all the changes, as all the girls were, I came back a little bit more at the end, was for How the West Was Won and Molly Brown. Studio changed completely, and for Molly Brown, we only had 2 days to learn Belly Up the Bar Boys and Ain't Down Yet. Very difficult numbers, and I just would rehearse till like 1 in the morning, and I'd just sleep in my room, and you were under the gun. You had to do it because they kept nailing you with time and schedule. So you just did it if you wanted the part. Today you're under a tremendous amount of pressure to keep ahead, to keep going, and either you give up or you meet the challenge. So some of us are still hanging in there.
Beautiful. Since we have this talented... Excuse me, go ahead.
Don't you think that sometimes working under pressure is better?
Well, if you like to throw up, yeah.
No, it depends on the number, does it really, honestly? It depends on the number.
Since you have all of these lovely people here, all of whom dance, what's the easiest step for dancing girls to do?
The easiest step for
The
dancing
easiest
girls?
step for dancing girls to do. Time step?
I suppose a time step.
Oh, yeah.
Well, can we get a little da-da-da-da-da?
Da-da.
What foot?
Right foot.
Follow the, Daddy always gets the right foot. Go, girl. Can we do it, Fred? You know how to do this? Come on, Fred, you can do it.
The only one that's not doing a time step is Fred.
Fred is thinking a time step.
I'm going to teach it to him afterwards.
We'll be right back.